Power up, power people. It's Nikki MG coming at you with a very important message about why your best organizers are often one crisis away from quitting. In my nearly 20 years of organizing campaigns, building coalitions, developing leaders across DC, Maryland, and the United States, I've watched some of the most talented and committed leaders, many of whom are women of color, just disappear from the movement. And it's not because they stopped caring about the issue or the work, but it's because nobody's taught us how to stay in the movement and do this work for the long term without burning out. So here's the pattern of what I've actually witnessed. I've seen amazing organizers lead and win campaigns, but then totally get burned out and leave the movement to go start their own business or go to corporate or go work for a bank. Totally burnt out, wanted to go make more money, weren't getting enough resources, time, or the culture that they needed to be well. So they left. Here's another pattern that I've seen within myself and some of my closest friends. You'll have a coalition leader who is holding everything together for the coalition, but inside and privately, they're falling apart, carrying all the stress and responsibility without the real support they need and not being able to talk about it publicly. And I've seen this pattern happen at small grassroots organizations to big major organizations like international unions and such. So, why does this pattern actually happen? Well, in the movement, we're taught some things that are kind of messed up. We're taught that dedication to an issue or an organization means always being available. In campaign culture, whether you're working on a workplace justice campaign or a policy campaign or a budget advocacy campaign, the culture shows that if you're not tired, that you're not working hard enough. It's like campaign culture glorifies exhaustion as proof that you care enough. There's also this kind of unspoken belief in culture that taking care of yourself is actually selfish when other people are suffering. And it couldn't be farther from the truth. Also, the adrenaline of winning campaigns often becomes the only fuel that keeps people going, and sometimes that's really few and far in between, and it's just not enough. A lot of us mistake running on empty as some kind of revolutionary commitment. Again, just couldn't be farther from the truth. I've been caught up in this culture myself in the past. When I was an executive director at DC Jobs of Justice, running a major coalition in the nation's capital, about 75 organizations, a part of this one organization, I was running 3 campaigns at the same time. I was running on empty. And as a woman of color, I thought that my value was in what I could do and accomplish for other people. And so I worked between being a board member and the executive director for that organization for about 8 years without ever taking a real vacation or a break. I was so depleted and I had ignored the symptoms for so long of what I needed to do to take care of myself, from eating breakfast regularly, taking lunch breaks, from taking vacations, ignoring telling myself that I love myself, that I was enough. I was just constantly like work, 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 people please, appease, navigate public politics and framing, constantly have to check myself and what I'd say, deal with opinions and power dynamics constantly without pouring back into myself to keep going. And so ultimately, I got to a point where I just had to quit. I literally couldn't go forward or do anything else. I was in a fog. I felt negative. I felt tired all the time. I didn't have the same spark and light that I did when I started, you know? If someone had encouraged me, if I had known myself that the way to sustaining building power and relationships was actually taking care of myself first and foremost and then doing for others, things would be a lot different for me and for the people that I managed and worked with. How I modeled leadership is really, really important. So, when we embody this type of martyr energy as leaders, as executives, as organizers for social justice, we're actually hurting ourselves and we are losing leaders that we can't afford. My own martyr like behavior as an executive led me to actually quitting the movement for about 2 years. I was just so done and tapped out. The work suffers because people can't think strategically or clearly. We actually model unsustainability to the next generation of organizers. And finally, we just literally cannot build long term power if people keep tapping out of the movement. So, there's another way to actually lead and sustain yourself in the movement. You don't have to choose between being effective and being okay. Sustainable leadership isn't just about bubble baths and vision boards, although if that's your thing, it's my thing too, that's great, but that's not really what it's about. It's about understanding how human energy actually works and directing it accordingly. It's about building your capacity to stay in the movement for the long haul. And this is what I've spent years, decades trying to figure out how to build sustainable practices so that we can keep leaders in the movement and build the power that we need for the long term to manifest the world that we really want, an equitable world that values everyone and takes care of us all. So if you're watching this and wondering, wait, that sounds like me. Am I on the path to burnout already? Then I've created something just for you. It's a quiz that shows you exactly where you fall on what I call the zombie to superhuman leadership scale. It takes just about 5 minutes and you'll get immediate insight into where you are and what needs to shift. The link is in the description. Take the quiz because we need you in this fight for the long haul, not just until you collapse. Thanks for listening, and I can't wait to see your zombie to superhuman quiz results.